since we had a live stream. It's a kind of unofficial start to the season once we have Bulls Media Day. So we're going to break down, go over the takeaways and everything that come out of Chicago Bulls Media Day. But before we do that, you already know what we got to do. We got to play that intro, though.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
Bulls fans, what's going on? Listen, I'm happy for the season to be started once again. For those that don't know, if this is your first time here for Chicago Bulls Central live stream, I'm Haize. My name is Haize, aka you guys can follow me at CEO Haize, but more importantly, you can follow the podcast and channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform that we have. This is always an exciting time period for, I think, Bulls fans, because Media Day is basically the unofficial start of the NBA season for the respective teams. Most teams have all their Media Days here on today. There's been a number of them, and so we're going to break down. Stevo should be joining me as well at some point. We'll see if he can get in here. It's to talk about the Bulls Media Day, to give his thoughts, but we had AK and Billy Donovan out there who always lead off Media Day. We had Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, surprisingly enough, Nikola Vucevic, and Jevon Carter and Kobe White as well out there today on Media Day. And one of the first things, the takeaway from AK and Billy Donovan in this was that, you know, changing the shot profile, which is something that they closed the season talking about, but also the importance of playing faster. We had both AK and Billy Donovan in today's Media Day talk about the importance of playing faster, but to create more opportunities. Now, Billy Donovan did specifically say not just to play fast, just to play fast, right? Talked about how creating more opportunities with more space, getting more offensive rebounds, right? But, you know, moving the ball more intently, right? And so, you know, he even talked about the thing, and this is one of the best quotes that I got from Billy Donovan out of this, is saying that the core three, Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, that it's important for those guys to understand how to make the role players on the team play better. And that was important for me. Billy Donovan is a guy who relies heavily on his star level players on his team. He relies very heavily on them. He allows them to do most of the things, but it really did seem like in this press conference that Billy Donovan realizes the importance of getting the other players involved in the game. And one of the things that stood out to me so much last season that I complained a lot with this Chicago Bulls team was the fact that they did not get offensive rebounds consistently. There were reasons to that, but Billy Donovan, with having the better one-on-one defenders this season, adding Torrey Craig, adding Jevon Carter, did talk about the importance in attacking the rim, in getting offensive rebounds, in being in position to get offensive rebounds, and how that can help the offense too overall. So these are all things, again, right now it's easy to say the right things, but I'm glad they're at least saying it. There's something with there were some flaws in Billy Donovan's system that it seems like, at least in this press conference, through word of mouth right now, that he realizes that this team needs to fix, and it's going to help them really take things to the next level. We got Stevo in the building. What's going on, Stevo?
It was good, man. It's
Your
Media Day, huh?
sound's coming through your camera again, bro, not your mic.
Bro,
Don't worry about it, man.
it's crazy because I just changed my camera stuff. That's why.
That's why. That makes sense then. But you know, so it again, Media Day is one of those things that you hear a lot of lip service. You got to actually see how it's going to play off when basketball is actually on. You good, Stevo?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So right now we're talking about AK and Billy Donovan's part of the press conference. I was talking about, you know, Billy Donovan talking about the importance of pace, offensive rebounding, 3-point shots, how the core three players utilizing the role players a little bit more, finding ways to put them in positions to have impacts on game as well. So where it's not just to that core three. How'd you feel about the that part from Billy Donovan so far?
I mean, the man said everything that we actually seen that was an issue. Like it's almost like he was definitely taking notes during the whole season. Every game he was there, every game he wasn't there, he was watching. And he said every right thing, especially the pushing the pace thing, the offensive rebounding part. He really went into the core about that. And just like the sense he got from everything is like we've been saying, like he's been saying, and everybody around him, they don't feel like talent is the issue. They just feel like they just need to fix a few things, which is really mainly on the coaching side, which is probably I will agree that majority of everybody's main concern around this whole team is Billy Donovan and the coaching and the adjustment problems. But like you said, you can say all the good things you want to, but it's all about doing it now. We really want to see if you could put whatever you saying that you've been saying the last few years. You've been pushing this word continuity for the longest, and I guess we got to stop saying. I know it hasn't been the results that we want, but it's continuity there. It's still there, but I want that continuity to results in wins, and that was only into us going to the playoffs was it becoming a real threat. And like you said earlier, we heard you said all the good things last time. You said all the good things in the beginning, the end, and opening. It's
Yeah.
all about doing.
Yeah. I mean, and one thing that I will say is different, at least about this, as far as Billy Donovan in this press conference, was just him talking about needing the role players to empower those. He's never really talked about that. He's always talked very heavily about the star level players. He was asked about Patrick Williams and him being a starter. And one thing that he said, and he said this overall with the point guard position too, is that, he's not saying that P. Will won't be the starter. And whether it means that you're starting P. Will, but you're still finding him minutes with the second unit so he can do more, so he can be more creative and he can have more things go through him. That was a big part to me as well, because that shows that, and he said that regardless, P. Will is going to be an integral part of this team. But it seems like for once, Billy Donovan is understanding, I need to empower, I need to put the ball in this guy's hands and let's see what he's going to do with it. And if he does good things with it, all right, we can add more things to his game. Did you take that away as well?
Yeah, one of the biggest things I did take away from that, and that he's not scared for challenging them either. He's really going to challenge them this year. Like, hey, all right, you're not coming in with a spot. Like to be honest, he showed it last year, but I think he's putting more of an emphasis on it now. And that's the type of coach I've always wanted. I know everybody. It's some people that just don't like it. Like, oh, if you got a spot, you got a spot, bro. At the end of the day, every year, anybody's spot is up. From Zach to DeMar, if somebody coming in and they outplay them, they should be the starter, or vice versa. Whatever minutes they want to put them, they should go. And I love it. But the fact that he noted that him not going to P. Will in more of a detailed way into putting in that confidence and that way of him being allowed to put in certain situations where it's just not catch and shoot, that was great to hear. That was definitely great to hear. And I don't know. I guess I want to give him credit on self-awareness. I think a big thing about this press conference compared to the last is self-awareness. Unless somebody told him about himself.
I mean, no, it does seem like they really had to sit down and evaluate what were some of the things that were hurting this team, which you got throughout everybody who got interviewed today. They really did say push the pace is something that you've heard from everybody who came out there today, which to me shows that that's something that they're having internal discussions about. 3-point shooting, something everybody talked about today. Even DeMar DeRozan talked about 3-point shooting today. And then another thing, utilizing Nikola Vucevic. Now, BD and AK didn't talk a lot about that, but DeMar talked about it. Vooch did talk about it when he was asked specifically if there's anything that they can use from Denver Nuggets into this game. And Vooch was honest and said, hey, I'm not saying that I'm Nikola Jokic, but I can do some things out there, and I would love to use my playmaking ability a little bit more, and I do think that's something we're going to do. He also talked about the fact I'm not just going to be standing at the three-point line waiting to take three-point shots. Those are things I needed to hear from Nikola Vucevic. And we heard it last year, and we saw it. Go ahead.
I was about to say, when he said that, I was like, yes. Yeah. It's almost like taking. I mean, he already got his career in his own hands, but it's really like I'm tired of y'all. I gave you my trust. I let y'all do what y'all wanted to do and put me in the situation you wanted me to do. It didn't work, and it definitely didn't work for me, and I was frustrated about it. So what I'm gonna do now? I'm gonna play more of my game. I'm not gonna be standing at this 3-point line, which I feel like they did calm down last year. That first year that first few years it was very heavy. They almost turned him into a shooter. I was like, hey dog, he ain't Chris Stapps now.
Yeah, that first year they turned him into a straight shooter.
Bro, they played him like a stretch.
Better.
Yeah.
And then I see someone like football CF Candy saying every year they talk about pushing the pace. No, this team, when they
did
did
not
push the
say
pace
that
with
last week.
Lonzo, exactly. They didn't say that last year, but when this team did push the pace, we saw the results. And this team is a team that plays better, even with having Nikola Vucevic and DeMar DeRozan in the lineup. When they push the pace, they've been a better team. The statistics back that up. Now, one thing that I did want to talk about. I won't say non-committal, but non-answers from both DeMar and AK about DeMar's contract extensions. Do you think there's anything there? Or do you think they're just not trying to release anything?
He, especially in this situation, I feel like he's always gonna be in the trade era. Just
Yeah.
like almost like Zach is almost in the trade era, but it's more real with DeMar, bearing his age and just bearing what you could get out of him. It's like to me coming in this season, he's always been you watch him around the trade deadline because he's the type of player that contenders want, and I don't know if he's that guy that could get us over the hump. But he is that guy that we've seen when they're clicking. Hey, we pretty good.
Yeah.
That's one thing we can say, we're pretty good. So, like I said, I think they're in discussions, but maybe both sides are not meeting the needs that they both want, and when it comes to that. But everybody, I feel like a lot of players in the situation of DeMar go into media day with those thoughts, and it's not a big deal as of yet.
That's facts. That's facts. And so, it is what it is.
I mean, Giannis ain't re-signed yet.
I mean, the thing is too with DeMar DeRozan, like it's really no rush. He's a veteran. It's not like with rookie, where you when you're on your rookie scale deal, you only have to January sometime to reach that extension. They could extend DeMar literally up the last day of the season. So it really bodes well for both teams to see how they play, right? To make it performance based, because if the Bulls are playing much better, which they expect and want to do this season. On top of everything else, like DeMar is probably going to command a little bit more money. If they're struggling, I think either way they're going to want DeMar to stay here. I think it's just what that number is going to be is determined by the success that the team's having and how other young players, if they do follow their word and put the ball in other young players' hands and try to empower those young players in key moments, if somebody's starting to show the ability to step up, you never know how that changes the value.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's my point. I was gonna go in after that. It's like if they make that move that everybody wants P Mill to move, like if he makes that progression that we all see, that could be a key a point of being like, all right, we don't necessarily need DeMar as much, and maybe if we get him out of here, we could possibly see the real P will bloom completely. So yeah, it all depends. They also talked about Kobe White a lot and how he was able to adapt in a lot of situations. He liked that he was a starter his first few years, and then he came off the bench last year and still find a way to find his niche and even improve all around as a player. So like they're definitely keeping their eyes on these young players. And also it's kind of funny to me because you just kind of look back and it just kind of confirm your thoughts like, yeah, we knew they wasn't going to trade them because they're so invested with the young guys. Like they love Io, Kobe, and Pat. That just Bulls fans get that in y'all head. They like the dudes that they drafted. Those they guys. So yeah, until they can't no more, they gonna hold on to them.
Yeah, and again, Billy Donovan very honest with Io, saying that he thinks it's going to be good for Io to face some adversity this upcoming season. He said that he would like to see Io improve on his decision making, finishing around the rim, and shooting, which I think is something we all agree with as well. And he said that Io was one of the first guys that Kay said this that came back to the gym. It was in Chicago almost all summer working out. Now, I mean, he is from Chicago, so it makes sense. But those type of things. So Io understands. I think that this is going to be a year where those minutes aren't coming easy for Io. And Billy Donovan basically laid that out as well. And everything seems like, at least coming into this one, it's all going to be performance-based, and we got to hope that that's true. Now, one thing, I know we've talked a lot about positive, but I got to talk about, some of the negative with this. AK kind of contradicted himself.
Oh, boy.
Finished last season by saying he's ready to go to ownership to pay the luxury tax. When he was asked the luxury tax question today, the exact quote was, we have to confirm that these guys are the group to have consistent success. And once they make sure that they have the group, that's when they'll go into the luxury tax. So AK even casting some doubt on basically saying, hey, we like our guys, but we got to make sure this is the core that's worth going into the luxury tax. As a Bulls fan, I can't be mad at that to a degree. I still think when you have Lonzo Ball and his contract's going away, you should be using that disabled player exception, luxury tax be damned. But it seems like he just wants to make sure that they're going to make that step up as a team before he attaches more assets and locks himself into this core a little bit more. What do you think?
I mean, part of me wants to agree with that part, but it's like, well, you just see a lot of other teams that's in way higher predicament, and somebody even asking this question. It was like, bro, like when we see other people that's constantly improving, they finish way better than you. Like it's almost like, okay, what are you sitting here waiting for? Like, how long you gonna sit here and wait this out? And we're kind of seeing like it's a difference between seeing the team that's just like going. It's a little setback, but they still going. It almost feels like this team hit a wall and we're just stagnant and we're not moving. And it's like it's almost like we dealing with a used car at this point. We're repairing it or we're trying to get it to crank so we can start moving. And this the cranking period. And it's like, dog, I don't know if I'm in the mood to see if y'all like at this point, it's a lot of ownerships and GMs that be like, but be damn with anything. This team ain't it. So I'm gonna use the luxury tax regardless. I don't know if they become this group, cool. But I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure this group is for sure that group. And I don't think with that answer, it just feels like you're leaving it up to chance a little bit too much for me.
I feel that.
I think, and it just me. I think just around the league, and it might be different. I got to really pay attention to it over the past few years. I just feel like a lot of organizations would die on their own sword, saying we did too much, and then okay, we'll repair after that. Versus okay, we did maybe enough, and let's see if they figure it out. Like it's very like. It's just different. It depends. Like, of course, it depends on every other situation and other organization. But I just feel like he just not showing the aggression that I want as a GM.
I mean, listen, I can't knock it. Like I've said before too. Like I try to be a little bit more patient, but I've said like the way I like the team that he initially built. It was working to the degree that it was working to. The inability to pivot off that once things changed and we knew Lonzo wasn't going to be back, I haven't really liked how they've pivoted. And Vooch said that as well. Vooch, to one of his comments, said that a lot last season to start the season, the guys on the team were saying, okay, well, let's wait till Lonzo gets back. And now that it seems like nobody on this team is with that mindset. They've brought in Jevon Carter. Everybody was asked and talked about the point guard battle. Seems like they're really confident in a lot of the guys that are going to be in that point guard battle. But do you think that mindset, we've talked about the front office having that mindset of waiting until Lonzo gets back. But what did it do for you to hear that the guys on the team kind of also were waiting for that pick-me-up of Lonzo that never came in the middle of the season?
I mean, we saw it. Like it's one thing to hear it, and it's another thing to see it. Mm-hmm. It's like even with things, it was like like even like I don't know if you paid attention to a lot of like I'm a big post game press conference guy, so I listen to a lot of post game, and they'd just be like, we're just a couple things away, and I felt like it's like when they saying that, it was just like, bro, we just missing Lonzo.
Yeah,
like, and I'm just like just read between the lines, and I mean, I don't fault them for feeling that way because it was true. When he was there, it was click. They got it. But in this league, the fact that we went a whole calendar year and a whole calendar season, we were still waiting for this man, and it's still. And the reason I was laughing while he was saying that is because that quote popped in my head. Because didn't he say that like at the end of the season, he said that, and it popped in my head once I got that text because I wasn't initially watching the thing. I drifted off to watch the Bears, and then you said, "Why is Lonzo here?" And you said jersey and all, and I was like, "These motherfuckers is still waiting."
Bro, like Lonzo being here at this press conference was one of the more surprising things, only because they already announced he's not coming back this season. Now, he did say he's had no setbacks in a year. He's on pace. He's about halfway through his rehab and recovery now. And he also said that he's not sure how he's going to have to change his game. He's going to wait he gets back on the court. But like seeing Lonzo out there, seeing him come out, talk, because last year this time we didn't really see Lonzo. In a little bit of clips that we got, he really did look depressed, sad, down. seems like his energy's better. I'm sure being on that path, going through rehab, not suffering any setbacks in a while helps as well. How'd you feel about the Lonzo part of that press conference?
I 100% agree. Like that's the one thing I've been paying attention with Zoe mainly is I just been worried about Zoe the man
Mhm.
because this is like when I know a lot. He said this a lot. He's been saying this is a big surgery, and I don't even think people realize how big of a surgery it really was.
Yeah.
Like this is I want to walk my kid to school surgery, bro. Like there's a surgery for 60-year-olds. Like that's why I'm like this is not a this is a killer for a lot of athletes,
Yeah.
and for the future to seem so bleak, and it's still bleak, and for him to have that, I gotta say, confidence that he's 100% like by the time this year I'm gonna be in his jersey talking to y'all, ready to come back fully healthy. Now I don't know what that holds, but I'm ready for anything that comes my way. And I was like, I mean, it's commendable. It's very commendable. It's nice to hear. But as a Bulls basketball, like am I thinking of the basketball frame? I'm still not thinking he's gonna be a Bull on the court. Like I don't know, dog. I don't
I
know.
mean,
Like
he's been very adamant and consistent with saying he does plan on playing again, and he should make an attempt to play again. Like this is his passion. This is what he's 25 years old. This is what his whole life being 25 is built up to. So I'm glad to see that he's very adamant about making a return. But I think that reality is going to set in, like it set in of how difficult it's going to be, and not to say that he doesn't understand it's going to be difficult, but he'd be the first basketball player coming back from this surgery. It's going to be a long test and road ahead of him.
he
And
would be like when the Sean Livingston came back.
yeah, and Sean Livingston had to be a completely different player when he came back. So we'll see what
Yeah.
that ends up being. Nikola Vucevic talked about re-signing with the Chicago Bulls, and he kept using this phrase. He used it about 3 times throughout this, and it stuck out to me. He said that he felt like there was work left undone. Now, he also said in this, he's not sure if they'll be able to achieve it, which it's like, come on, man. Just stick on
No, he
stick on
did
the
not
work
say
left
that.
undone.
Hey, that's why Vooch is my favorite player. That's why I
'Cause
got
Vooch don't
Vooch.
Hey,
He is blunt.
bro, you know I grew up in Europe. One thing about Europeans, especially Eastern Europeans, they don't know how not to be blunt, bro. They don't
Bro,
know
he is
how
so
not to be
blunt.
blunt, bro. But when I lived in Germany, one of my best friends who was a native German, he was like, he asked what I wanted to eat one day. I was over his friends. He was like, I'm just gonna tell you, we don't know how to fry chicken. And he did not. He didn't mean it even offensively. Like the way that he said it was just like, hey, bro, like I know I want to get you this for you, but we don't know how to do this shit. Like they're just blunt, bro. Like
Yeah. I love people like that. Like for real. Like honestly, like I don't who else said, like, and I think honestly that's just a worldly thing. Like I think people outside the United States just kind of more blunt. Like
yeah,
even because when he said I instantly thought about Joel Embiid, I was like, I kind of. He's like, I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if I'm gonna win a championship here. And I'm
yeah,
like, yeah, it's a fair statement to say, especially with the situation he going in. So yeah, like, but besides that, like, the work undone part, yeah, you left this whole scheme left a piece of work for you that you haven't even seen yet.
yeah.
And maybe
Facts.
you see crumbles of it. You seen crumbles of it when Lonzo was here because he's the only person, and I think that was one of the big things that somebody asked him a question about, like asked Zoe, how did he feel about like being around the team more, and now that we know it's an open competition with guards, how he will like give his own insight with things. He's like, I'm an open book with everything, but I think what the difference between DeMar, Vooch, and everybody, they need to realize that they're completely different players.
Yeah,
And the way you got to feed them, you got to understand where they want it, how they want it, and when is the right time to give it to them. I
yeah,
think the biggest key thing that's going on with Vooch right now is we don't understand when the right time to feed him. And when I mean feed him, I mean feed him down low in the post where he could. Once he do that, he gonna do all the other Vooch stuff that y'all like and love.
yeah.
But
And,
he's just go ahead.
And I love that Vooch specifically talked about post and drive. I think sometimes so often when a player can score in the post, we think of these back to the basket. I'm gonna dip my shoulder 3 times, pivot, and hit you with a hook shot. Vooch is more successful on post and drives, and I love that Vooch is a very aware person, and I really hope that this year Billy Donovan listens to his player when they're telling you how they like to be used. I always say this with my kids, right? Kids will tell you how they need to be parented, not directly saying, hey, dad, you do this. But if you pay attention to them, every kid needs to be parented differently. You can't come in with cookie cutter coaching either. Players will tell you how they need to be coached and utilized. It's up to you then as a coach to build into your system and scheme times where you can do that. Can you run post dives for Vooch every single play? No, and you shouldn't. But you need to work that more into your offense to where you're using players to what they can do.
I always say when it comes to Vooch, you got to let him do his move.
Yeah.
Whenever he do his move, you give him the ball. As soon as he put his back and put his hand out, give him the ball. And he's going to make and one thing is people don't give him a lot of credit. He's a great decision maker. He knows when he's going to make a move and attack, or when it's probably not going to work. I'm going to pass this out. All he does, he put his weight on him, fill him out, see what he's going to do, and then he makes his move. And then if it's not there, he passes it out. I don't understand why there's so many times, especially this season, where he's been down there just yelling, ball, 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 and we just don't give it to him. And then you just see him and as the season came on, they went from that to a bad miss, him dropping his head, then slowly running back on the thing, and then he give his frustration foul out, and then he get his tech.
Facts.
And all that could have been avoided if you had somebody there to realize, which is usually the point guard. But hey, you got a coach. Your coach, you got to understand that too. Before it was players that understood that it was coaches. They understood the moments, and Billy just doesn't pick up on it. But he said, "I'm listening to him now, so hopefully he just picks up when he needs it."
Yeah, facts. I want to get into a little bit with Jevon Carter. One thing that I bolded, I would have highlighted 3 times if I didn't take my notes digitally. He says that he will be the vocal leader for the team.
Yeah, ain't too
he
many.
Adamantly said that. He didn't He said, "Oh no, I'm going to be vocal. I'm going to talk." And so we know and understand how important that one of the best things that Zoe brought to this team, and I always talk about it and explain it. I may over-explain it, but sorry, stick with me. Zoe was such an amazing communicator on the court, right? Zoe isn't a guy who talks a lot off the court, but on the court, he was such an amazing communicator that the way that he talked on the defensive side of the ball and told players what they needed, where they needed to be, and what the opposing offense was trying to do, it made Zach LaVine playing on the court with Lonzo Ball had a defensive rating average of 107. This is a guy whose career average is 111. That's the importance of having a communicator at the point guard position that's also a defensive dog. I'm not saying that Jevon Carter is going to replicate that one for one, but if Jevon Carter is going to be somebody who's going to tell guys what to do and where they need to be, we know that I love Zach LaVine, but Zach LaVine sometimes with basketball IQ is fucking remedial. You need somebody out there like a Jevon Carter that's going to communicate.
And one of the things I like comparing defensive mindset and just defense overall period to Lonzo is KG. And why I feel like why that Boston team that won that championship, what was it, 08? Yeah, that won the championship. That was one of the best defenses, and had nothing to do with skill, their defensive skill necessarily. It's because how great of a communicator it is. They were, and the leader of that defense was KG. And the main reason is because everybody watched those training camp videos when they like, low, I'm right you. I'm in the left. I'm on the right. Hey, watch that screen. All that shit normally stops from everybody, but a couple players in the league that does that on every team. Lonzo was that guy. I can, off the TV, I can hear Zoe, hey, Caruso, watch. And as soon as he turned around, stole the ball.
Yep. Just
simple stuff like that. Once Zoe left, it was all you heard was their shoes.
Honestly, you didn't hear anything again until sometimes with Javonte, sometimes with Caruso, but then we didn't hear it consistently until Pat Bev came to the team. Yeah. And so you need that. You need that for sure. Another thing that Jevon Carter, this is why I'm sure Jevon Carter is going to be one of my favorite Bulls this season. He was asked, what's something that you saw from this team that you want to see them improve on or that hurt the team last year? And he said their reluctance to shoot the ball. And I love that.
He saw him 4 times.
Bro, I love that. I
Hey,
love that. Because it's facts. Like, how many times, like, especially late in the season, once Zach LaVine did start coming on, there were times where Zach was cooking and then defenses adjusted and Zach just needed somebody else to hit a shot and nobody else could.
nope. Or wanted to.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the one thing, is the want to. And it was all a confidence issue at that point, 'cause it was shot because I don't know. It was just, especially towards the end of the year, it was just like you had that one night where we was hot and then we wasn't. And nobody else could get it. If somebody had it, nobody can help. And it was multiple games like that. And he's definitely that type of dude that's gonna come in any day.
Yeah.
When it's a slump, even if Jevon has a bad half, like I feel like he could break it. Like, all right, I made this shot. Let's go, y'all. Let's go. Hey, you need to get some shots up. Like that, and that's the main thing, that him being at the guard position, he's gonna be at the time, like he gonna realize now the fact that he realized that they're reluctant to shoot, he gonna be in them like, hey, bro, Kobe, shoot.
and that shows why, like, the crunch time defense against the Chicago Bulls was so easy. If Jevon Carter realizes, hey, this team is reluctant to shoot the ball, you think every other defensive player in the league hasn't realized that? So that's the things where the Bulls can improve by just having players that are willing to step up. And that is why bringing in Jevon Carter, bringing in Torrey Craig, these are players that, listen, if they're open, they're not going to hesitate to shoot. Torrey Craig can miss 4 3-pointers in a row. Guess what? That fifth one where he's open, he's going to take it confidently.
He gonna shoot it.
Yeah.
Shooter's gonna shoot. And that's the funny, like, bro. It's almost like he gonna be another Pat Beverly effect. Just come in and tell people what they got to do. Just do it. Like, y'all shouldn't have to be out here thinking. Just play ball. Like, there's no reason like you should come out here pump faking. Like, even there is multiple times where we have good ball rotation, move the ball, and they get to the last one, they just be like, oh, I ain't gonna pass, I ain't gonna shoot it. And then just mess up everything. You can't run another play after that. That was the play. And that just mess up everything. You get a bad shot after that. And once you get a bad shot, it's a long rebound, and everything goes. Now you're down by 12. off of just sometimes we lost games just because our reluctance to shoot. It didn't have, it was some mistakes, but sometimes the mistake was we just didn't shoot at the right moment. And I have all the confidence in the world when he get this ball and it's just a little piece of light, he's shooting it. He ain't gonna think about it. And the craziest thing that this is coming from somebody that was coming off the bench on the Bucks. So, like, you already know Drew Holiday knew that.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart know that. Jaren Jackson know that. So, like, it's getting to the point, like, basically you just say y'all was predictable. I'm a backup point guard. I know y'all predictable. Hell, in so many worlds, Pat Beverly said the same thing. Zach, why you ain't shooting?
Don't pass. Shoot.
Don't pass. Shoot.
And Zach said that too. He talked about, I know we haven't touched much on DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine and what they said in their because it's kind of the same thing they said last year outside of the Nashville thing. But, like, Zach talked about the importance of this offense creating more threes. DeMar DeRozan talked about the fact that, hey, just because I've never consciously focused on shooting threes, I know that I can. We need all of that this year. We're going to need all of that. Like, the Bulls averaged 28 3-pointers per game last season. Jevon Carter and Torrey Craig at their career averages would bring us up to close to 35, which would put us at 11th in the league. We need all of that.
Every single one. Just, bro, that corner, we could hit a damn corner three.
Yeah.
Every time it reminded me of that part, like that game, like Patrick missed like 5 threes in a row. Like, it was just like, dog, we can't buy a bucket. Why we can't buy a shot? And that's when, I mean, like I said, I credit to HK for finding somebody that's also can play defense, a dog, and can shoot on both sides, on both of them.
Shout out to Austin, says, what up, y'all? Billy and AK really focused on using spacing and speed of play to change the shot profile. In y'all opinion, should this be the primary focus? Yes, and getting more offensive. They said the things that if I had a bullet point list of things I needed the Bulls change, AK and Billy Donovan honestly touched on all of it. More threes, pushing the pace, offensive rebounding. Those are the things that I want to see the Bulls do the most this season, because I think with that that's gonna that just those three things will completely change the dynamic of
Dog,
the Chicago Bulls
bro.
offense.
Just pushing the pace would have won us 10 more games.
Yeah,
Honestly, like even struggling should the fact that we was predictable and slow,
that's
you
a hell of
can't
a
be
way to put it there.
predictable and slow.
That's
Like
a hell of a way to put it.
they're gonna bro. The worst defense is gonna pick that apart. They're
Yeah.
the best athletes in the world, and if you're gonna be predictable and slow, and you can't shoot like your favorite quote is, pick a struggle.
Pick a struggle. Pick a struggle.
Pick a struggle, dog.
For sure. Now, Kobe White, you said that you touched on that. He said he talked about being an up and down player for the most part of his career. He said I've gotten the reputation, and he said honestly, I have been up and down, and he's really focused on being more consistent. He said he's being more consistent in not only his approach to the game, but the way that he can impact the game. He says that as a point guard, he understands that he needs to command the ball, run the show, and understand where players like to have the ball at, and being more vocal. These are all things, again, valid checklist of things Kobe needs to improve on.
A+.
That's an A+ there. It's just is he gonna put in that work to actually do it on the basketball court? I know we got to go over and do this Bears press conference, but Stevo, overall, any other thoughts or anything specific you want to bring for the press conference? If not, just like how do you feel? I know you've been one of the more pessimistic Bulls fans this offseason. This press conference do anything for you?
It showed me that okay, the sense of the organization, they understand what the issue is. Now it's about doing it, and I'm mainly gonna be looking like at this point. I can't too much. I mean, I can, but if we talking about on court product with what we got.
Yeah,
what we got. There is no reason why we should be a 40-win team, talent wise. There is no reason. Now, if we get there, I know it wasn't AK.
facts.
It was Billy and them and the players. Simple as that. That's what this year's press conference told me.
Yeah, and I mean, AK was asked about, are they going to be looking to make moves at the trade deadline, and he basically said, "Hey, I'm not going to talk about anything specific, but we're always open." And so that's what you have to be as a general manager, especially when you have a team that has underperformed. You got to always be willing to listen to deals, evaluate the team every single day, and allow that to be what it's going to be. And overall, I just look at it and say this: all right, you said all the right things. Now you got to go out and show us, because if you can be aware of what needs to change all day long. And now, like I said, that's not just from a Billy Donovan standpoint. The player said the same thing, right? And if you can't go out there and execute it as a player or as a coach, that it tells me you just don't have the desire to. And at that point, some things may need to change. Yeah.
Write the vision, make it plain.
Yeah. So overall, too, like I said, they were asked about the point guard. When you look at it, who do you think did this do anything to change who you think is going to be the starting point guard this year? What do you think?
I honestly think it's going to be between Kobe and Jevon.
Yeah.
That's really what it is, and I'm kind of leaning the way if I had to make a prediction early, the way Billy was talking, Kobe might be the guy.
Yeah, and that's the thing I will say too. I've been all off season. I think Jevon Carter is going to be the starter. I think Jevon Carter is going to be the starter, and Billy Donovan, I think in the way that he talked about Kobe and the work, left that door a little bit open. But I will say this as well: Billy Donovan did say we may have a starter coming off the bench just because of the way that it balances stuff out. So he left himself open to that one. But I think that overall, like, we're going into training camp, is going to be that open battle, and hopefully this team finally sets that identity that they said that they were trying to set at the start of last training camp. So let's hope that that's the case.
Well, identity is that.
Struggle. That's been the identity of all Chicago sports teams
Depression.
right now. Struggle. Cubs fans, White Sox fans, Bears fans, Sky fans, Bulls fans, Blackhawks fans. It's going to be a rough season, but at least they're looking up. But it's a lot of struggle going on.
I want to say that, but the way we've been dealing with Justin Fields, we like, is he gonna be a fuck up too? Like, damn,
Jesus.
Jesus, it would be like I don't want to go. I already got to do this press conference, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all right, brother, man. Y'all can follow Stevo at Stevo Speaks on everything. Make sure y'all follow and support him. You can follow the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voice, damn, I haven't done this in so long, I'm out of practice. Leave a voicemail and our text message at 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything.
You need to add another one. Tell the chat need to tell you stay off. Tell them to stay off Twitter. Tell them to stay off.
It's not gonna happen, bro. Right? And then look, Kevin came in here, and I know it was Kev because Kev always touching shit, and it changed the colors of all. He probably thought he was in bed. Kev be fucking up. I love Kev to death, but Kev know he old, bro. Like Kev be fucking up, bro. But
Kev,
I will see.
He's the go-to old man, bro.
Kev be tripping, man. I'll see you, lovely and beautiful people. Hey, we'll be live on Sunday for a game. We got another game to talk about. I can't wait to
Thursday
on that game. It's Thursday.
Yeah, it's Thursday. It's a short week.
Oh no, I'm talking not for Bears. We're on Bulls. Bulls game Sunday.
What?
Yeah, we play Sunday.
Who?
Don't we? Yeah,
I don't know shit. I ain't gonna lie. As y'all know, I ain't been looking forward to this damn season.
Yeah, we play against the Bucks on the 8th, man. We get
ain't that about a bitch?
Yeah.
Oh my God. End the damn shit.
We'll see you guys on Sunday, y'all. Peace.